Hello and welcome to This Explainer. I am so thrilled you're here with me today. Let's just take a quick deep breath together. If you're someone who regularly feels, well, entirely exhausted by the endless social demands of the modern world, I want you to know you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're going to dive deep into the fascinating mechanics behind a behavior that's incredibly common, yet profoundly misunderstood by pretty much everyone around us. So let me ask you something. Have you ever disappeared for weeks at a time? Really think about it. Maybe you just completely stopped answering texts, watching your phone buzz while hiding under a blanket on the couch. Maybe you declined literally every invitation to go out, essentially ghosting your own life for a little while, just retreating completely into your own space and letting the outside world spin without you. If you have, you already know the intense, heavy guilt that usually follows. Well, let this next fact be a massive sigh of relief for you. You aren't flaky, you're just surviving. Today, we're going to completely reframe this behavior using some brilliant insights directly from our source material. We're going to unpack exactly why your mind occasionally mandates this sudden, dramatic retreat from the world, and why this is actually a beautifully protective mechanism, absolutely not a character flaw. Okay, let's jump right into Section 1, the flaky myth. It can be so incredibly draining to navigate society's unfair judgments, right? When you step back, society just loves to throw labels around, calling this behavior flaky or antisocial. People automatically assume you just don't care, that you're unreliable, or that you're intentionally being difficult. And honestly, it's an exhausting narrative to carry around. But psychology? Psychology offers a radically different, entirely validating view. They call it high social sensitivity. So while society sees a failure to participate, psychology actually sees a deeply sensitive system operating exactly as it was designed to, under pressure. And that brings us perfectly to Section 2, high social sensitivity. Let's leave all that societal judgment behind and look at the actual framework here. High social sensitivity is defined as a psychological trait requiring longer recovery times after social interaction. It's not an antisocial flaw. This isn't a personality defect, it is a distinct, measurable psychological trait that fundamentally changes how you process the world around you. And notice that phrase, recovery times. It implies that social interaction is an active exertion. Think about it. Just like running a marathon requires physical rest, navigating conversations, absorbing emotions, and constantly reading social cues requires psychological recovery. It's literally a biological necessity. This brings us to a really beautiful insight straight from our source material. Pulling away isn't about avoiding people. It's about protecting a deep inner world. I just love that. It isn't about rejection at all. Your isolation isn't some targeted attack on your friends or your family. It's an act of deep self-preservation. You are actively guarding something valuable inside yourself from becoming completely overwhelmed by external noise. Moving right along, let's look at Section 3, protecting your inner world. So, why does your brain suddenly decide to pull the emergency brake? Why does it feel so compulsory, like so impossible to ignore when the urge to vanish finally hits you? Well, it happens in a very predictable cycle. Step 1, it starts with high social input. You've been out, mingling, absorbing everything and everyone around you. Eventually, Step 2, that leads to bandwidth depletion, where your internal resources basically hit absolute zero, which triggers Step 3, the vanishing act. You pull back, stop the texts, shut the door. And finally, Step 4, that creates the much-needed space for cognitive recovery. Laying it out logically like this just completely normalizes the process, doesn't it? It's a highly structured and entirely healthy psychological cycle. Now, let's explore Section 4, recharging cognitive bandwidth. This right here is the final essential piece of the whole puzzle. We need to understand what's actually happening under the hood during that isolation period. Because you aren't just sitting there doing nothing. Your brain is actively working overtime to repair and restore its capacity to function. Your cognitive bandwidth is basically the finite mental capacity available to process social stimuli. It depletes, and it requires highly intentional recharging. Socializing literally drains your mental resources, piece by piece, conversation by conversation, until the tank is completely empty. Recharging isn't some fun luxury. It's an undeniable physiological requirement. Imagine your capacity after a period of heavy socializing. You might have a mere 10% of your bandwidth available, while 90% of it is totally depleted. When you start looking at your energy as a finite resource, like a battery, well, of course you have to disappear. You are running on fumes. This severe depletion is the exact trigger that forces you to step away and initiate that vanishing act. And here's the thing, you simply cannot compare your recovery timeline to someone else's. While someone with average sensitivity might bounce back super quickly after a really busy week, an individual with high social sensitivity objectively requires a significantly longer runway to get their bandwidth back. It's not about willpower, it's not about being antisocial. Your mind simply requires more time to reset, and the data backs that up. So embrace the recovery. And please drop the guilt. The source material makes it so incredibly clear. Understanding your psychological needs is the very first step to honoring them. We have to stop apologizing for taking the time we need to function. The Vanishing Act is not a flaw, it's literally the architecture of your survival. It's the exact mechanism that allows you to show up in the world again when you are truly ready. I'm going to leave you with this question to ponder today. Next time you feel the need to vanish, what will you protect? Will you protect your peace, your energy, your deep inner world? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope this reframes your habits, helps you drop that heavy guilt, and empowers you to recharge exactly the way you need to. Keep learning, keep protecting your bandwidth, and I'll see you next time.